Hi guys, here we are. This is me, your teacher Mace, and I'm going to solve some equations for you. And you can use these examples to help solve some of the equations that you have in your homework. So here's one. The first one here is this one right here, 5x to the fourth minus 12x cubed equals 0. So I want to find the values of x that can go into this equation. So what I'm going to do, and I always want to do, since it equals 0, I want to make it into a product. Because if two things multiply together and equal 0, then that's easy to solve. So if I want to make this into a product, these two terms, I'm going to first look for a common factor, and I can see I can take out an x cubed here. And I'd be left with 5x minus 12 equals 0. Now the two things that multiply together that equal 0, either x cubed is 0 or 5x minus 12 is 0. So here we're going to get x is going to be equal to 0, or 5x equals 12, and x is negative 12 fifths. So there are two solutions to this equation. Okay, now we're going to move up and try this one. This one here, this is a little bit trickier because I'm raising something to the 3/4 power. So what I'm going to do is isolate this radical part, or this rational, this equation that is raised to the 3/4. So I'm going to isolate that. So I'm going to do x plus 2 to the 3/4, and then I'm going to move the 27 to the other side. Now I want to get this x alone, so I'm going to raise both sides of this equation to the 4/3, because I know my rules of exponents. If I raise this to the 4/3, this will become 1 over here. This will just become x plus 2 to the first power. And over here I have 27 to the 4/3, and I'm going to use a little magic, because I know that 3 cubed is 27, so I'm going to just change that to 3 cubed, because then when I raise a power to a power, I'm going to get, I multiply those, now I have 3 to the 4th. And 3 to the 4th is 81. So x is going to be equal to 79. And there I have that. I should check my answer, but I'm going to make this video quick, so I'm not going to do that right now. You guys can do that. And now we're going to move up a little bit here and try this one. Now this one is a little different. I got two radicals. Usually we want to isolate one radical and square both sides, but there's two radicals with variables in them. So what you want to do is actually get them on different sides of the equation. So what I'm going to do is put this one over to the other side and move that one over, then square both sides. Because if I squared the side with both radicals, that would be really ugly using FOIL. So I'm going to square both sides like this, and 5 squared, that would be 25 times root x is x. And this one I have to use square double square, so it's 36 plus, then I'm going to multiply these together and double it, would be 12 of them, and then plus, when I do radical x minus 1 times x minus 1, that's when I just get x minus 1. Now I'm down to one radical. So now what I need to do is isolate that one radical again. So I'm going to, on one side, so I'm going to bring everything over. So 25x minus this 1x over here is going to be 24x. I'm going to bring, let's see, 36 minus 1 is 35, but I'm going to bring it to this side, so that would be now minus 35, and that's going to equal 12 root x minus 1. Then I'm going to square both sides again, and over here I'm going to get 144 times x minus 1, and over on the other side, I'm going to get 24 squared is 576 x squared. Multiplying those two together and doubling it is going to be 1680 x, and then 35 squared, negative 35 squared, is now positive 1225. Oof! Okay, now I have a quadratic equation. So I'm going to set it equal to 0 after I put this 144x minus 144 in. So I'm going to set this whole thing equal to 0. I'm running out of space here. Let me move this up a little bit, and then we'll kind of go over here a little bit. Get this problem out of the way. Or actually, you know what I'll do is I guess I can squeeze it in here. So this is 576 x squared minus 1680x. I still have this, I'm just writing it again, plus 1225. It's a quadratic, so I'm going to set it equal to 0 now. And that's going to give me, so I'm going to get, we still have this 576x squared. And now it's going to be minus 1824x. And then I'm moving this 144 over, and then it's plus 1369. All right, so then if you're going to solve that, you can, okay, this is a quadratic and actually does not factor. So it's the quadratic formula. I'm going to let you guys, I know you guys can all do that, but what you're going to get is if you use the quadratic formula, is you are going to get 38 plus or minus 5 root 3. X is going to equal all over 24. It's a bit ugly, but you certainly can use the quadratic formula there. And now one more here. I have one more problem to do. Okay, so here we go. On this problem here, you can see that there are two terms right now. You have this term, and the common factor to these two terms is going to be x plus 4 to the 1/2 power. So you can watch that's what I'm going to pull out here. So I'm going to pull out an x plus 4 to the 1/2 out of these two terms, and that would be 1 plus 5x times x plus 4, because, in case you don't see that, the x plus 4, this x plus 4, whoops, I don't want that. This right here, if you take x plus 4 and I multiply by x plus 4 to the 1, you get x plus 4, you add the exponents, your rules of exponents, you get x plus 4 to the 3/2. So we're good from there. Now I have two things that multiply together that equal 0. So either this is 0, and this is, I'm going to rewrite it so you can see it better, that's x plus 4, because when you raise something to the half, it's the square root. So that is 0 when x is negative 4, so there's one of my answers. And then this, let's expand this, 1 plus 5x squared plus 20x, and we want to know when that is 0. That's a quadratic. So I set that equal to 0, and I'm going to use the quadratic formula here, because I can tell right now it's not going to factor. So the opposite of b is negative 20 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 400, minus 4 times a times c, which would be 5, all over 2a, which is going to be 10. So then we're going to get x is equal to negative 20, and plus or minus, this is going to be the square root of 380 over 2 root, over 10 now. Oops, this would be 2 times 5, which is 10. So this is 10, and that is going to be square root of 380 is 2 root 95. So we're going to have negative 20 plus or minus 2 root 95 all over 10. Let's factor out a 2 on the top, and we're going to get negative 10 plus or minus root 95 over 10. And then I'm just going to slide this up a little bit. And we're going to get a final answer. X is equal to, I can cancel this out, 2 goes into 10 5 times, so it's going to be negative 10 plus or minus root 95 over 5, so those are two answers, and negative 4 was my other one. And that's it. And one last problem I'm going to do for you is this problem. So 6 over x plus 8 over x plus 5 is equal to 3. Solving that for x. So I'm going to make this into one term on this side, which would be x times x plus 5. And we're just going to common denominator. There's my common denominator, so I'd have to multiply the 6 times the x plus 5. And then the 8 times the x, and that's going to equal 3. So I'm going to get 6x plus 30 plus 8x all over x squared plus 5x equaling 3. Now I'm going to cross multiply, so this is 3 and a 1, so we're going to get 14x plus 30 is equal to 3 times the x squared plus 5x. And again, now I have a quadratic. I'm going to set it equal to 0. And we're going to get, I'm going to bring these two terms over there. So it's going to be 3x squared plus 15x minus that 14x minus the 30. I brought that to this side. So then we're going to have 3x squared plus 1x minus 30 equals 0. Now I'm going to factor, see if I can factor this. Looks like it might factor, because that's always easier. So 3x and x, and the factors of 30. Let's try 10 and 3. Let's put a 3 there and a 10 there. Minus, so one's minus, one's plus. Let's do this plus and this minus, and there we go. We'll have, you can see right here, we'd have minus 9x, and then plus the 10x is going to give me that 1x term in there. So we're good. Now I have two things together that multiply together to be 0. So either 3x plus 10 is 0, or x minus 3 is 0. So this is going to be 3x equals 10, and x is 10/3. That'll be one of my answers, and the other answer will be 3. And both those are okay in the domain, so those are my answers to this problem. Okay, guys, I'll, oh, one last thing. Let's see here. One last thing. We're going to grab, oh, here comes Daniel running through. There he goes. He's running through my video here. All right. So I'll see you guys tomorrow in class.